So breastfeeding is one of the procedures that is initiated soon after birth, and it is continued up to 6 months, and beyond that is based on whether it is up to the mother. So how much the duration is usually for 30 minutes every 2 hours or so, or even based on the baby's needs. This process or event benefits both the fetus as well as the mother. And something that is common for these two is the fact that it builds a strong bond between both the mother and the fetus. In addition to this, now first if we go and look at the fetus, the benefits would include reduced incidence of infection as far as studies from or research paper evidence is concerned, gastrointestinal infection, as well as something called necrotizing enterocolitis, again infection along the gastrointestinal tract. So these two are known to be reduced. Moreover, there's also the added benefit of better nutrition values. After this, now if you were to look at the maternal benefits, in addition to the one that I had already mentioned, which is the bond, you would see that it is a form of natural contraception, meaning the mother is less likely to become pregnant, and so this allows for better spacing between children, and better spacing means better nutrition for each child. And finally, it also is basically calories, right? When you're giving breast milk, it's basically calories, so it allows the mother to lose weight. Now, even though we talk about the benefits, and yes, it is very important, there are certain problems that can be encountered during this process. It's the fact that we are unable to monitor the amount. How much amount of milk is being given, that is something we will not know unless it's difficult to know. Certain infections can be transferred from the mother to the fetus, and in this sense we're talking about HIV, cytomegalovirus, hepatitis perhaps, and drugs also. Nicotine, caffeine, alcohol, those things can be transferred in the breast milk and pose effects on the child. Finally, if we were to think about if this process was not to occur in the way it was meant to be, then it can pose the mother to be in a state of anxiousness, because she is not doing what she believes that every mother should be doing to the child. That is basically the benefits and the problems you will encounter there. And now I want to dwell a little bit deeper into the pathology, or what in the sense makes the breast milk anti-infective, the properties. And you will see that I have written it, but again I have not put it in the entire form, so you might want to listen to what I have to say. So again, IgA refers in the sense to an immunoglobulin that clumps bacteria, clumps antigens. So it makes it easier for the immune system to consume these infective pathogens. Another one is bifidus. Bifidus is one of the things that is important for the growth of lactobacillus, which in turn produces lactic acid and reduces the pH and wards off the growth of pathogenic organisms. Lactoferrin, on the other hand, it reduces the growth. It's important for iron binding, and also reduces the growth of E. coli. Lysozyme, it breaks down pathogens. Interferon is the one that is known for being antiviral. Then let's come to the nutrition. I have mentioned with these things the anti-infective properties in nutrition, so I'm just getting a little bit deeper in them. So as far as nutrition would go, the protein that is available in the mother's milk is much more easily accessible to the child, meaning it's easily broken down. The same goes for the iron as well as the fat. The fat in the sense because of the fat being in the form of a higher percentage being in the oleic acid. Finally, the technique. The technique, before we go to the technique, like the practical thing, the theory is that using the suckling and rootling reflexes, the baby latches on to the nipple, and this stimulates release of prolactin from the anterior pituitary and oxytocin from the posterior pituitary, which what prolactin does is initiates or works towards the production of milk, while oxytocin is involved in the ejection of milk. And now, as far as the technique goes, the baby latches on, but improper latching. Like for example, the lips of the child, the lower lips of the child should be outturned, and a greater portion of the areola, which is the pigmented region of the breast, should be visible from the top. Let me just I'll just show it with the picture. Okay, so you will notice the pigmented area around more will be visible from the top, and below the lip should be outturned. So having finished talking about the breastfeeding, now I'll be moving on to the weaning. Now, weaning is the process in which solid foods are introduced to the child, and they're introduced one by one, so that what food causes any kind of allergy or discomfort to the child is identified much easier, and necessary changes are implemented from that point. So, having said that, that's basically weaning, and this is started about 6 months of age, with usually some mashed rice or mashed potatoes, and then slowly one by one introduction goes on. Now, after weaning, so I'm going to be talking about the differences in the breast milk, infant formula, and the cow's milk. Breast milk and infant formula, that's not much different, and over the time the values have come closer and closer, so there's not much of a difference, except again the technique causes a stronger bonding between the mother and the fetus. So the biggest difference comes when you're comparing breast milk and cow's milk. And the important things are the ones that I have mentioned in nutrition, which is the protein, iron, as well as the fat types. So protein is more biologically available. Protein, iron, all of these things are more biologically available in the breast milk. And the type of protein is whey type of protein in the breast milk, and casein in the cow's milk. The iron, so all of it, I've said that. And the biggest difference, or the most dangerous thing when it comes to cow's milk, is the electrolytes. The electrolytes are in the very high end of the spectrum in cow's milk, and those levels shouldn't be there when you're giving something to the child. So there is that.